Hello, I hope all is progressing well. Welcome to I Don't Know, We Can Talk About It, where we discuss myriads of topics civilly, reasonably, and responsibly. My name is Kevin Dufresne. Our first topic is with regard to disparate impact. Title VI and how shifts may affect educational environments. The reality of how individuals may engage in an educational environment is so stark due to how the human beings in the environment may respond to each other through however relationships form. To be of even keel as an educator is extremely important, especially considering one may be working with individuals that are developing biologically, though may be very intelligent, well capable of thriving, may have yet to come to certain levels of maturity with regard to what connects with what may be branching from biological parameters. So an adult may be of more experience chronologically on Earth than a student might be, though maturity, understanding, these parameters of being human have no age requirement, and everyone's experience of life may differ, not only of chronological comprehensions, though depths of experience. When regarding why Title VI may be so impactful, one may observe rootings of behaviors that call for the attention of individuals that may assist with effecting change. And when the appropriate parameters are set to ensure every individual receives appropriate respect, the individuals at work in an educational environment must be operating of not only high regard to what may be legally connected, though what may be of recognizing humans in development and roles, responsibilities of an educator that is to assist with well developing humans. The professional area of an educational environment may seem very unique in that there may seem to be more than one or two operating realms, where one may have the classroom, one may have what is of an employment factor which may connect to the classroom, though regards being an employee in an educational environment, more particularly for the employee realm. And the other environment may have to do with what may realistically be out of an educator's hands, when one is to regard factors that may not have any direct, immediate effect with an educator or an educator in the educational environment, together or apart, though may be of conversation, which may connect with factoring how to regard an educational environment or an aspect of it. And one may consider even more realms beyond these three realms. So one may recognize many tiers of an educational environment, recognizing the educational environment in parts and as a whole. All of these regards are important, though may not always reflect continuity between the different realms. So what may be happening in one area may be shocking to a different area, may be what a different area finds not so shocking, whether the shock be of a good or adverse type of value. So when one is observing the shift of Title VI and how one may observe in myriad regards, in an educational environment, it is important that regard is set with highest approaches, most optimal approaches of professionalism that are protective of the constituents of educational environments, particularly the clientele, the students. Even so, there may be other avenues to address how to promote educational safety in an educational environment if there may be behavioral situations that arise that require such attention. Additionally, there may need to be investigative directives to address how one may, in an educational environment, approach any situation that may prove adverse for a student because of an employee, or adverse for an educator because of a student. Being able to address an investigative directive may really bring about learning parameters for an educational environment, introducing the dimensions so the entire educational environment is aware of what possibilities are when any situation may arise. In broad awareness of the sort, particularities may be set so individuals understand that what is evidentially available, evidentially supportive, is going to receive the most attention, even more so immediately rather than later, because individuals may be able to adhere closer to the details through closer contact with the situation than with more time, distance, and perhaps other situations that may arise in between. So, educational environments may be able to address how to engage with being better environments and with resolving differently situations than making any situation become a harmful factor for an educational environment, so as to ensure educating the educational environment happens, then creating friction or any adverse effects due to an educational environment that may seem unwilling to assist individuals with growing with awareness of an educational environment's parameters and making sure the reality of learning is present is so important, so individuals can recognize differences of an educational environment so as to grow with the mindful attention that there is more happening than what seems like coming to school and being a student is, with regard to similarly with an educator, perhaps even an employee at a different level as well, because there are fine lines and everyone may learn of these lines and between these lines, and the details of an educational environment are so important to recognize as useful for all parties to grow with, directionally and purposely, so as to ensure less blindness when one is observing an educational environment and more openness to the good possibilities, which may require long-term planning, though immediate addressing is what may assist with ensuring accessing the better possibilities. Our next topic is with regard to learning at home. The article brings a very strong point about how parents might feel uncomfortable with the educational level of their experience, channeling through them to connect with their child or children. And I think the educational gap, if there is one, may be somewhat unnecessary for any parent to find overwhelming. When a parent may encourage a child or children to work with them to understand how to do the assignment, even if the assignment might be in another language, or if the parent might need better understanding. The value of sharing time together, being willing to learn, is important. Additionally, I think the parental response to learning experience can be very encouraging for the child or the children. So the parent can greatly assist with navigating what the parent understands how to navigate, whether that be counting numbers, and as the article mentions, engaging with particular games. The other dynamic is encouraging the child or children to recognize the potentials of learning being so available for them, and encourage the children to become more intelligent, to become smarter, and acknowledge not being the smartest, which may really bridge understanding. There are a lot of ways to connect with learning, even if one does not know the material, and there are a lot of ways to be encouraging when one might continuously run into situations that one does not understand to do, though may recognize the possibilities of greater understanding or different understanding through the child, through the children, so as to encourage the child's awareness that the child is unique, going to grow into one's own, and not grow to be the parent. The child will create life of the child's own, and perhaps take traditions from family and what culture the child is growing through, which may prove greatly valuable in the future, because there are so many cultural aspects that are valuable long term, that are wonderful for addressing familial dynamics and growing well, that an educational environment might not teach. So the parental dynamic, the guardian dynamic of engaging and communicating well may prove extremely valuable for how a child's worldview develops, and how a child may recognize that experiences of life differ, and that the child has opportunity to grow differently, to experience life differently, in a way that the parent is acknowledging, in a way the parent is saying, well, look, the parent has a lot of responsibilities, and it's making time to grow together, so that growth together may assist with the unique growth blossoming into the future, where that individual may be without parent or guardian, though with family, with opportunity. All right, it's time for some origami. Today's origami requires a longer sheet of paper, uneven, and the idea is, well, we're just going to take this sheet here, we're going to pull this so it looks somewhat like a ball. Just pulling it around. Then we're going to put it through. Okay, I'm just going to pull it through. And we're just going to make sure it's pretty tight. Okay, and after you press it down, and I'm just going to tuck this back piece in. After tucking the back piece in, I'm going to turn this origami sheet over so the other side is facing me, the side that I finished tucking is facing away from me. And I'm just going to bring this up here. So as you can see, I'm just bringing it up here along this side. But I'm also going to bring it back down, but just to match where the opposite wall is. Then I'm going to bring this to the other side. After I come down here, bring it to the other side. And when I bring it to the other side, I will have this edge here. It'll be over. I'll just leave it. What I do next is I will take this edge and fold it in. I'm going to actually double check the instructions here, which you may find in the summary of the video, to make sure I do this most accurately here, because I fold it down, I bring it down, I fold it up, I bring it up, and thereafter, yep, that's correct. So everything's correct so far. So I tuck it in. Right in the back here. And from here, I am going to just press in. It's important to make this really, really tight. So that's actually one of the big reasons why I look into that video. It's because I want to make sure this is really, really tight. Because we have to bend it, but it also has to form with the bend. And what happens here is, with this bending, you are to get this 3D origami star. So I am using more of like a soft printer paper that goes through a little bit of moisture. So this material might be a factor in how this star is forming. Very much there, though the paper is very, very loose. So with that, it's a very nice star. You can make these very quickly. And it stands up well, so you can stand up. It'll stand up on its own. Alrighty. I champion reading physical books. When an individual reads a physical book, the brain physically changes. Long-term health benefits from reading a physical book. Why workplace well-being matters is very important to address, and is likely a question that will be receiving responses for as long as work exists, especially to the capacities of which work exists. One may well regard the text as addressing how both connect and how one may be impactful to the other, how one's well-being may affect the organization, how an organization might affect one's well-being is of course extremely important, and the dimensions of emotional intelligence are very much at play in such a regard. The other reality of the conversation is with regard to how different cultures may be with regard regard to work, cultures of nationalistic senses, and how every culture may have areas of which individuals of a nation may subscribe to differently. Not everyone subscribes to the same national cultural context to the same degree. And there are many people that are working. The working world is a huge part of economical progress, and even people that may have a lot of wealth have the option to work or not work. And the factor is that work is more than just a space where people go to earn money. There are people that find other values in working in a facility. For some people, work is their community. For some people, work connects them with skills that allows them to engage better with their community. For some people, there may be a purposeful connection with work. Everyone regards work to a different capacity. There are people that want to work for a certain amount of time. There are some people that want to work for the rest of their lives. And to what capacity is completely up to the individual. So the reasoning to address well-being at work ties in with other developing factors, which the text is greatly addressing. Having robust details to work with. The population size may be more varying, though the amount is fairly large. So one may recognize that the data present is worth addressing to address how any organization may connect with employees. The text may prove to be quite valuable to consider with organizational development, with better addressing other dimensions of research that pertain to work and well-being, and how policy may be informing of possibilities of work, and how work and government may connect, especially considering government is an avenue of the working realm. So the connection is more so in time with how governmental direction may better align workplaces to prevent problems of well-being. One factor of well-being that is extremely important to recognize is how there is a mind-body-soul connection. There is evidence of what may be happening in one environment may be greatly affecting another. Now, people approach work differently. So there may be individuals that have a wonderful work-life balance, understand how to separate work from life, don't take the work home, and understand how to balance living their life, enjoying it well, and looking at a broader reality of what work connects to and how work is a possibility, a part of life. So the text is great to address these dimensions and how one may approach considering possibilities of work in the future. The research is ongoing, and the reality is there are many industries that work differently than the industries present in the text, though it is important to recognize that the research is possible. And with more research, with more data, more sound resolves are going to be possible across industries so that economies may actually be better without suffering the primary supporters of the economies. Thanks for joining. I don't know. We can talk about it. Onward and Upward, Kevin Dufresne.